All right, let's dive into another Mtel question. This says, use the graph below to answer the question that follows. And we've got this little wave on the graph. It says the graph shows a periodic function f of x that has a domain of all real numbers. If the pattern continues for the entire domain, the value of the function at x equals 35 over 2 is the same as the value with the function at. We've got a few options here. All right, so a periodic function is something that repeats over and over again. You can kind of see a pattern developing here, right? This is a wave. It looks like a sine graph, if you've ever seen a sine graph, where we sort of bounce up and down over and over again. So the concept of a period is pretty important here. And the period is how long it takes for the pattern to repeat. And here, we've got a repeating pattern every 2 units. So the graph goes down and then back up every 2 units. And that's going to repeat forever. So the pattern begins on every even number. You might notice that. It starts at 0, then goes back up to 2, then it'll go back up to 4. So if we can figure out the closest even number to 35 over 2, we should be able to just kind of repeat the pattern and figure out where we're at. So really all we're doing is dividing 35 over 2 by 2 and then finding the remainder. Mathematically is how you could think about this. 35 over 2 is 17.5. So the closest even number I can come up with to that without going over would be 16. So if you think about 16, and we know that, let's just say that this was 16 for the sake of argument, the pattern is going to repeat again, and we need to get to 17.5. 17.5 would put us 1.5 past 16, or the nearest even number. So 35 over 2, which is 17.5, is 1.5 past 16, and 1.5 is 3 halves. So those should have the same value.